4 words, spoken in the right moment, at the right frequency, can shatter the ceiling of your financial reality. Some people clutch a lottery ticket praying for a miracle. Others hold that same ticket knowing the miracle already belongs to them. The difference is not the number printed on the paper. It is the level of consciousness behind the hand that holds it. Because true wealth is never won. It is commanded. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this with a precision that most minds were not yet ready to receive. She declared that luck does not exist. Only law exists, and that law bows to the voice of whoever speaks with absolute faith. What you speak with authority becomes your reality. What you speak from doubt dissolves before it reaches form. This is why a spiritually awake person does not beg to win before buying a ticket. They decree. They do not wait to be chosen by the universe. They remember they were already chosen. They do not gamble on chance. They activate law. This is not mysticism. It is spiritual precision. Florence said there are words that do not merely express reality. They manufacture it. Words that, when spoken with focused intention, align the energy of money, of opportunity and of destiny entirely in your favor. Today you are about to unlock those 4 words. 4 vibrational keys that, spoken in the correct sequence, ignite an immediate consciousness of wealth. This is not about playing to win. It is about playing from the certainty that abundance is already yours. Because the ticket in your hand is nothing more than a symbol, a visible representation of the faith you carry inside. Hold it with anxiety, and it radiates fear. Hold it with certainty, and it radiates power. And when your spoken word matches that certainty, the law must respond. Subscribe and stay close, because these 4 words do not attract luck. They attract fulfillment. And once you speak them from genuine faith, the universe will not be able to look away. But before I reveal them, I want to share the story of the woman who first spoke them, and transformed her destiny forever. A student of Florence who discovered that fortune is not found, it is declared. Florence Scovel Shinn often told the story of Grace, one of her most persistent students. Grace burned with desire to win the lottery. She tried again and again, each attempt soaked in equal parts hope and terror, convinced that luck would eventually notice her. She bought her tickets with longing and dread living side by side, certain that some distant day, fortune would finally call her name. When she came to Florence, she had spent years feeling invisible to prosperity. Florence listened without interruption, and then said something that split Grace's life cleanly into before and after. She told her that the universe does not reward desire. It responds to instruction. That luck is not a gift delivered by fate, but the natural result of a mind synchronized with divine law. She asked Grace to stop playing the numbers and start playing her own vibration first. Grace resisted. She could not see how a handful of words could alter what she believed was pure chance. But Florence explained that a word is not communication. It is creation. If Grace could speak 4 precise words with true faith before touching her ticket, she would not merely influence an outcome. She would shift her entire frequency. Florence taught her those 4 words, simple and staggeringly powerful, and told her to say them quietly, calmly, with no emotional charge of lack, no desperate expectation, only settled certainty. Grace obeyed. She went to purchase her ticket as always, but this time the anxiety was gone. Holding it, she spoke the words. A strange warmth moved through her. A deep stillness arrived, as though something hidden inside her had finally clicked into proper order. She did not claim a headline prize that week, but something changed at the root. In the days that followed, unexpected money appeared. Overdue payments, gifts, funds she had forgotten. Beyond the amounts, what changed was her vibrational signature. She had stopped feeling like a beggar at luck's door, and begun carrying herself as an heir to abundance. She returned to Florence, eyes bright, and said, "I did not win the lottery, but I feel as though I already have." Florence smiled and answered, "That is what happens when you use the correct words. Fortune stops hiding and begins to recognize you." That was the first living demonstration of the 4 words of fulfilled faith. Since then, thousands have used them as vibrational keys to unlock abundance, and you are about to receive them. But first you must understand how to prepare the mind to hold them, because without the right inner order, no word carries power. Now you will see how to awaken that consciousness in Chapter 1. Where you will discover that the true ticket is not in your hand. It lives in your mind. The ticket you purchase does not decide your destiny. The mind that purchases it does. The real lottery does not happen on paper. It happens in thought. Every number printed on that slip is a symbolic reflection of the inner order, or disorder, sustaining your vibration. If your mind vibrates in scarcity, every ticket is hollow. If your mind vibrates in fulfilled faith, any ticket can become a channel of abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that every visible manifestation is simply a mirror of invisible consciousness. What you hold in your mind is reflected in your hands. This is why she insisted that before you pursue money, you must pursue mental order, because money does not enter where chaos lives. Grace, the student longing for fortune, grasped this principle after her first real conversation with Florence. She recognized she had not been losing money by buying tickets. She had been hemorrhaging energy by buying them from fear. Her mind whispered, "I hope I get lucky." And that phrase sealed her fate because buried in, "I hope," is the shadow of doubt. And doubt is a decree wearing the disguise of optimism. Florence stated this plainly. What you give thanks for multiplies, but what you wait for from a place of doubt dissolves before it can reach you. There is no punishment and no reward, only correspondence. The mind does not attract, it transmits, and the universe responds with mathematical precision. This is why before speaking any word of power, you must clear your mind of fear's static. Every thought soaked in lack is vibrational interference that severs the signal. If you buy a ticket thinking you might get lucky, you are proclaiming that the universe may or may not favor you. But if you buy it knowing fortune already belongs to you, the universe has only one option: confirm it. Florence called this state ordered thinking. A mind that does not complain, does not plead, does not rush. A mind that moves from the quiet certainty of someone who knows the outcome was settled long ago. To enter that state, she taught a simple practice. Before speaking any decree, close your eyes for a few seconds and breathe deeply. Envision a golden light descending and surrounding you. That light is divine order. As you breathe, repeat internally, "All is in its place. All is fulfilled." Do this 3 times until you feel your body soften and your mind grow still. In that moment you have entered the correct field. You have opened the channel of communication between your spoken word and the substance of the universe. You are no longer asking. You are activating. Your ticket ceases to be paper and becomes a symbol of certainty. Florence said the mind is a mirror. A dirty mirror distorts every image. Clean it, and the reflection becomes exact. This is why she placed such heavy emphasis on thought purification before the decree. You cannot speak words of power from an agitated heart. The law does not respond to noise. It responds to order. Make the act of buying your ticket a conscious ceremony. Do not rush. Do not search for the winning number. There is no winning number. There is only winning vibration. As you extend your hand to receive it, feel that you are receiving divine confirmation. Say in silence, "This is the visible echo of my invisible abundance." Then keep your ticket with calm. When the mind grows still, energy aligns. And when energy aligns, the universe obeys. That is the true law of chance. It is not chance at all. It is ordered mind made manifest. Grace understood this the moment she stopped buying tickets as attempts and began buying them as sacred acts. She was no longer a player. She was a creator. And from that day forward, everything in her life began moving in her direction. You can do the same. But remember, no disordered mind can hold a decree of power, and to order the mind, you need the first vibrational key, the word that opens the flow and awakens the channel of abundance. That word is the root of all creation. Without it, nothing else functions. In the next chapter you will discover it. And when you speak it with full awareness, your energy will begin to turn in your favor. Nothing opens the current of fortune like gratitude, not as polite courtesy, but as a creative force. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that gratitude is not the consequence of the miracle. It is the cause. When you give thanks before seeing the result, you are declaring that the work is already finished, and the universe, which cannot argue with certainty, is compelled to confirm it. The phrase, "thank you," carries a vibration of completion. When you speak it with faith, the universe hears only one thing: it is already done. And in the instant you affirm that, the invisible begins organizing itself to make the visible inevitable. Florence explained this with a clarity that cut through every layer of human logic. She said gratitude is the purest form of faith, because the one who gives thanks does not ask, They recognize. The one who gives thanks does not wait, they know. This is why she told her students that every word of gratitude spoken before receiving is a decree of power, a demonstration of spiritual mastery. Thank you is far more than a kind expression. It is a silent command issued to the universe. It is the vibrational signal announcing that you are no longer seeking. You are receiving, no longer waiting. You are confirming. When a person says thank you from a place of genuine understanding, their energy field shifts immediately. Tension dissolves, the mind quiets, and the body aligns with the sensation of fulfillment. That peace is not coincidence. It is the signal that divine law has begun to move. Grace, Florence's student, witnessed this in the simplest way. Before, every ticket she bought came with an internal plea. I hope I get lucky. That phrase carried the dread of failure. Florence asked her to shift her entire energetic tone, using a single word. Thank you. She was told to repeat it before receiving the ticket. Not petitioning, not visualizing winnings, only resting inside the feeling that it had already happened. The first time Grace did this, something unfamiliar arrived. Not euphoria, a deep, anchoring calm. It was as though she had finally surrendered into certainty. That sensation, Florence explained, is the highest expression of faith. No anxiety, no urgency, only rest. In the days that followed, Grace noticed quiet shifts. Unexpected money found her. Opportunities that had seemed invisible stepped forward, and most profoundly, her emotional relationship with money changed. She had stopped fearing it and begun blessing it. The energy had moved, and when energy moves, results are inevitable. Florence explained that gratitude needs no reason. It creates one. When you give thanks without visible cause, you are issuing a command to invisible substance to provide you with a visible reason. That is the law. The inner always precedes the outer. This is why she asked her students to practice constant gratitude. Not as moral obligation, but as vibrational training. She would tell them that the human mind is so accustomed to perceiving lack that it must be retrained to perceive fullness. And gratitude is that retraining. Every time you say thank you, you reprogram your mind to seek out good, and what you consistently perceive expands. Make the phrase, thank you, a sacred habit. When you wake, give thanks for a day that has already been blessed. Before sleeping, give thanks for what your eyes have not yet seen, but is already moving toward you. Before paying anything, give thanks that money flows freely and returns multiplied. Before buying a ticket, give thanks that the universe already solved the equation. Do not speak the words mechanically. Feel their frequency. Feel that each, thank you, releases a luminous vibration that travels into the invisible field and returns transformed into opportunity, into order, into prosperity. Florence insisted that gratitude is the key that turns the lock of the heart. Without it, the mind can decree, but the soul cannot receive. Gratitude dissolves fear, and where fear is absent, abundance walks in freely. Modern science is only beginning to approach what Florence taught a century ago. Today we know that sincere gratitude triggers neurochemical responses that produce calm, well-being, and mental clarity. But what she understood went further. She taught that gratitude does not merely change your inner state, it changes your vibrational field, clears invisible paths, melts hidden resistance, and draws coincidences that defy ordinary explanation. This is why before any act of manifestation, Florence requested silence and gratitude. She would say, if you give thanks first, you will never need to ask again. And she was right. The energy of gratitude creates completion, and what is complete manifests. Practice this small ritual of power. Before reaching for your ticket, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel your body release. Feel the air move in and out. Then speak silently the word, thank you 3 times. Not to attract, to confirm. Imagine the universe receiving your word and quietly beginning to arrange itself in response. If you can sustain that feeling for even a few seconds, you have activated the flow. You do not need to picture specific amounts or particular outcomes. Simply hold the frequency of gratitude. The law does not require details. It requires direction. When Grace mastered this practice, Florence revealed something that would reshape her entire approach to manifestation. She said, every thank you speak is a seal written into the book of your destiny. That sentence stayed with Grace permanently. From that point forward, each time she said thank you, she said it knowing she was sealing a result. That is how the teaching worked. Simple, practical, precise. No rituals, no mystery, only consciousness. Gratitude turns desire into decree and waiting into fulfillment, but an open door still needs a close. A way to confirm the decree has been heard. This is why Florence taught the second word. If thank you opens the flow, the next word fixes it in place. If gratitude summons abundance, the second word gives it permission to stay. Without it, energy can scatter because the human mind has a natural pullback toward doubt. With it, doubt dissolves and the decree becomes solid. In the next chapter you will receive that word. The second key of the divine command, the word that closes the cycle and turns your gratitude into visible fulfillment. Prepare yourself, because without this word no decree holds, but with it, abundance becomes permanent. Saying thank you opens the flow. Saying, done, seals it. This was among the most powerful teachings Florence Scovel Shinn ever offered, and among the simplest to apply. While gratitude declares that you have already received, the word, done, confirms that the process is complete. Nothing is missing. There is no waiting. There is no doubt. There is only fulfillment. When you speak the word, done, with complete awareness, something invisible shifts. The energy settles. Thought stops its restless circling, and the universe reads that vibration as a final instruction. In that instant, creation completes itself in the invisible realms, even while your eyes have not yet confirmed it. Florence explained this in practical terms. She observed that many people decree correctly, and then dismantle their own decree by continuing to behave as though it has not yet been fulfilled. They give thanks, yes, but then they begin asking, when will it arrive? Why hasn't it happened yet? That question cancels the original order. The mind relocates itself inside the frequency of lack. This is precisely why she taught the word, done, as the follow-up to every decree, not as ornamental language, but as a vibrational signal that stops the mental noise. Done is the close, the seal, the period at the end of the sentence. When Grace had learned the first word, her energy began to stir. But it was with the second word that her manifestation became tangible. Florence instructed her to speak it quietly after the gratitude, to say, thank you, done. That pairing created a kind of vibrational code that locked the instruction in place. The first time Grace spoke it this way, a stillness came over her that was even deeper than the stillness that followed the first word. It was as though something unseen had been signed and filed within the universe. This sensation is what Florence named divine rest, the rest of someone who already knows their word was received. Done does not mean you can see the result. It means you know the result already exists. That certainty is the highest vibrational state available to a human being. It is real faith, not the faith that hopes, but the faith that knows. Florence compared the universe to a perfectly organized office. When you submit a clear order, the process begins immediately. But if you return repeatedly to question whether it was received, the processing stops. Doubt interrupts the current. In contrast, when you declare, done, the energy understands the request has been closed and the fulfillment sequence activates. That simple, that precise. This is why, after finishing every decree, you close with the word, done. If you speak it sincerely, you will feel a small wave of interior peace, a quiet sense of relief washing through you. That feeling is the echo of your word inside the energetic field. It is confirmation that the energy has received the instruction and is obeying. Florence recounted that some students would challenge her, but if I say done and nothing happens, isn't that self-deception? She would reply, no, it is training. The law responds to sustained vibrational consistency. If you hold the frequency of completion, the invisible gradually densifies until it becomes visible. The human mind was trained over many years to doubt, and so it must be retrained. The practice of saying done is that retraining. It teaches your mind that words carry power, and that they require no external evidence in order to stand. Every time you say, done, feel that you are closing a door. The door of fear, of waiting, of uncertainty. Each closing frees energy for the law to work without interference. Make this word a seal across your whole life. Use it not only when decreeing money or good fortune, but everywhere. If you are affirming health, thank you, done. If you are claiming love, thank you, done. If you are visualizing a goal, thank you, done. That small act shifts your entire vibration. The reason is direct. When the mind stops waiting, it enters rest, and in that rest the universe's natural current manifests. Fulfillment is not something that happens to you. It is something you allow. Florence said that each time you speak, done, a layer of your consciousness merges with the divine mind, the mind that completed everything at the very beginning of creation. That merger forms an energy bridge through which manifestation travels. Grace practiced this word over many weeks. Each time she purchased a ticket or made a payment, she said, "Thank you. Done." And something remarkable began to happen. Not only did her prosperity increase, her anxiety vanished. She stopped projecting into the future and began living inside the certainty of the present. And that inner peace was the greatest prize of all. Florence put it plainly. When you feel that all is done, time loses its grip on you. And she was right. Time only torments those who believe they are lacking something. But those who live inside completion already possess everything. This is why done is not merely a closing. It is an interior transformation. The one who uses it correctly stops being a supplicant and becomes a creator. They no longer look for signs, they become the sign. Practice speaking, done, at the end of every affirmation. It does not matter if your mind resists at first. Continue repeating it calmly. Gradually the energy of that word will saturate your thought patterns, and what was once anxious waiting will become effortless rest. Divine law requires rest to function. Just as soil requires stillness for a seed to germinate, your mind requires rest to manifest what it has decreed. Done is that rest. Understand this and you will see that every word spoken with genuine faith requires no further effort. You do not have to rehearse it. You do not have to push it. Only rest inside it, because a word of power does not work through repetition. It works through vibration. The next time you hold your ticket or perform any symbolic act of abundance, say first, "Thank you," and then, "Done." Feel the weight of that second word settle inside your chest, not only in your mouth. That vibration travels faster than any thought. And when your mind begins to drift toward fear or doubt, return quietly to the words, "It is already done." Do not debate it. Do not analyze it. Simply feel it. Energy does not need explanation. It needs direction. Florence would say that divine law has ears, but it does not interpret human language. It reads frequency. So when you say, "Done," from the ground of certainty, the universe understands exactly what to do. You now know that gratitude opens the door, and completion seals it. But every sealed door needs a recipient. A channel ready to receive what is already on its way. Because if the door is sealed without someone standing to receive, the energy cannot enter. That recipient is you. And the next word is the one that opens your hands for what you have already decreed. If "thank you" and "done" are the call and the close, the next word is the action. It is the word that converts faith into experience and decree into lived reality. In the next chapter you will discover the third word, the word that activates your capacity to receive. Because it is not enough for the universe to deliver what is yours. You must be prepared to hold it. And that preparation begins with a single word. The third word of the divine command is the most frequently forgotten, and perhaps the most potent of all. I receive. Florence Scovel Shinn considered it the key of the creative act itself. If the first word, "Thank you," opens the current, and the second word, "Done," seals the decree, the third word gives it a body. It is the moment the invisible becomes tangible. It is the instant you stop searching outward and recognize that everything you sought already belongs to you. Saying, "I receive," is not accepting a gift. It is claiming an identity. It is asserting, "I am worthy. I am a channel. I am the rightful recipient of what I have decreed." Florence taught that humanity's greatest struggle is not petitioning. It is allowing. Most people know how to ask. Very few know how to receive. When you say, "I receive," you are granting the energy permission to materialize. It is the signal that your mind and body are prepared to house abundance, because the universe never withholds what has already been ordered. It only waits to find somewhere to place it. The difficulty is that many people decree and give thanks, but then block the current with thoughts of unworthiness. They say they want prosperity, but feel guilt for wanting it. They believe someone else is more deserving. That vibrational contradiction seals the door. The energy arrives and finds no entry point. Florence would say, the universe does not give you what you request. It gives you what you are capable of receiving, and receiving is not a physical action. It is a state of mind. Grace encountered this directly. After practicing the first two words and feeling her energy calm, her outer life had not yet shifted dramatically. Florence explained that the final essential step was still missing. She said, "You have given thanks and you have sealed the decree, but your energy is still pointed outward, still waiting for something to come. Stop waiting for it. Receive it now." That instruction changed everything. Grace began speaking the words, "I receive," each morning, not as someone waiting for a delivery, but as someone opening both arms wide. She walked through her days saying quietly to herself, "I receive abundance. I receive opportunity. I receive fulfillment." And within a short time, her reality began to mirror that frequency. It was not magic. It was law. A mind in a state of reception stops broadcasting the signal of emptiness, and where the signal of emptiness is absent, the law rushes in. Florence explained that, "I receive," activates the energetic center of the heart. At that point, spiritual energy descends into the physical plane. This is why she insisted the word must be spoken with a feeling of openness, not of expectation. The one who expects places limits. The one who opens allows. When you speak, "I receive," do it with your breath. Inhale deeply and sense that the air itself is richness flowing into your body. As you exhale, feel your energy radiating outward and circulating that abundance. Do not visualize it as something foreign arriving from outside you. Feel it as something already moving inside you. Florence taught that the act of receiving must be felt, not thought through. The mind reasons, the feeling vibrates, and the universe responds to vibration, not to logic. So the more naturally you feel the word, the faster the law responds. Do not repeat it with urgency. Repeat it with ease, as someone accepting something already familiar. Abundance is not a visitor. It is part of who you are. There is a subtle but essential difference between receiving and taking. Taking is an act of fear. Receiving is an act of love. The one who takes fears losing. The one who receives trusts entirely. This is why every time you say, "I receive," you must do so from gratitude, not from urgency. Florence told the story of a student who wanted to prosper, but responded to money's arrival by spending compulsively or turning it away out of a deep sense of not deserving it. She said, "You do not have a financial problem. You have a reception problem." She asked him to sit each evening and say, "I receive," in silence until peace settled over him. Within weeks, his financial flow stabilized, not because he earned more, but because he learned to sustain what already arrived. Receiving is not about quantity. It is about frequency. You can have very little and feel completely full, or you can have a great deal and feel perpetually hollow. The universe only multiplies what is recognized as complete. So every time you say, "I receive," speak from fullness, not from need. Florence also explained that, "I receive," is the highest possible response to any sincere intention. When someone prays for health, for love, or for abundance, they should close with, "I receive," not merely, "Amen," because that word does not only bless the intention, it materializes it. It is a conscious acceptance of the outcome. Put this into practice. In safe, ease say, "I receive peace," instead of, "I want money." Say, "Receive money." Instead of, "I want love," say, "I receive love." Notice what shifts. Your body loosens, your mind quiets, your vibration lifts. The energy of, "I receive," dissolves resistance. Florence said that resistance to receiving is a subtle form of pride, because whoever believes they must earn everything through sheer effort is refusing divine grace. To receive is to acknowledge that life desires to give, that abundance seeks to circulate, that you need not justify what was already granted to you at the moment of creation. The universe has no favorites, it has channels, and the mind that knows how to receive lives inside perpetual flow. Practice this word in every dimension of life. If someone offers you a sincere compliment, do not deflect it. Say silently, "I receive." If an unexpected opportunity presents itself, do not question it. Say, "I receive." If a wave of unexplained calm comes over you, say, "I receive." Each act of reception expands your energetic channel. Florence described, as gratitude in motion. Giving thanks opens the door. Done. Closes it. "I receive." Lets the blessing through. Without reception, the chain breaks. This is why this word must come after the first two, never before, never between. First you give thanks, then you seal it, then you receive. This order is not arbitrary, it is vibrational code. Alter the sequence and the energy scatters. The complete decree so far is clean and exact. Thank you. Done. I receive. Speak it quietly before any act of manifestation, before buying a ticket, before signing a contract, before falling asleep. Each repetition reinforces the signal in the unseen field. Do not demand an immediate response. Sometimes the universe answers in an instant. Other times it reorganizes circumstances over days or weeks. But if you sustain the frequency of reception, everything that belongs to you will find its way to you. Grace experienced this organically. One afternoon she received a call from an old friend offering her a partnership in a new venture. She had sought nothing. She had only maintained her daily practice. She accepted without hesitation, and her financial reality shifted completely. It was not coincidence. It was coherence. She had learned to receive. Receiving also means accepting what arrives even when its shape is unfamiliar. The mind makes requests in specific forms, but the law responds in essence. Florence said the divine response is always perfect, even when it feels unfamiliar. So when something comes to you, do not refuse it. Say, I receive this also, and I trust divine order. That acceptance keeps the current flowing. When you practice, I receive, you discover that the universe does not only deliver things. It delivers understanding. It teaches you not to fear the empty space, because empty space is simply room ready to be filled. To receive is to remember that abundance does not come from outside you. It flows from within you. And each time you remember that, the money, the opportunities, and the right people align with your energy effortlessly. Florence closed this teaching with words her students carried for life. Do not fear receiving, because in receiving you allow others to receive as well. Abundance circulates, and whoever blocks their own reception interrupts the entire flow. To receive is a collective act of love. And just as a seed has no reason to apologize for blooming, you have no reason to apologize for prospering. Repeat this word every day, in moments of calm and in moments of doubt. I receive, not because you are lacking, but because you remember who you are. As you speak it with faith, your energy field grows dense, real, tangible. Ideas become openings. Openings become events, and you understand at last that the universe was never waiting on you. You were the one causing the delay. I receive. Those are the words that release everything that has been withheld. But Florence taught something further. She said that what is received must be allowed to move, because what becomes stagnant loses its light. What enters must multiply, or the flow stops. This is why there is a fourth word, a word that completes the cycle and turns reception into expansion. Without it, the energy pools and dims. With it, abundance becomes limitless. If you want what you receive to grow, if you want fortune not only to arrive but to stay and increase, you must activate the final divine command. In the next chapter you will discover that word, the command of multiplication, the frequency that ensures everything you touch expands beyond what you imagine possible. Prepare yourself, because when you speak it, the universe will stop giving by measure and begin giving by overflow. This is the word that completes the circle of creation. Thank you. Opens. Don't seals. Allows. I multiply. Expands. With it, energy stops being static and becomes continuous flow. It is the breathing of abundance, the natural motion of everything alive. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that what you bless multiplies and what you fear contracts. For this reason, training the mind to multiply does not mean fixating on larger sums. It means choosing larger life, greater fluidity, fuller expression of the law. Multiplication is not a human ambition. It is a divine response. When you speak, I multiply, with awareness, you are granting the law of growth permission to move through you. You are telling the universe, what enters my life does not stop here. It circulates. And in that moment, you become a channel, not a container. Florence taught that one of the most common mistakes made by those beginning a spiritual practice is clutching the result. They decree for money to arrive and then grip it tightly the instant it does. But money, like all energy, dies when squeezed. This is why she would always say, do not fear releasing, because everything released in love returns multiplied. Grace lived this out. When she had been practicing the first 3 words and her life had shifted visibly, a quiet fear of losing the gains still lived in her. Florence taught her the 4th word and said, whenever you receive something, say I multiply. That word keeps the energy of flow alive. Grace applied it faithfully, and soon she found that her prosperity did not merely hold, it increased without strain. The word, I multiply, activates what Florence called the law of divine circulation. Everything in creation moves in cycles: breath, water, harvest. What enters must exit in order to enter again. If you hold the breath you inhale, it suffocates. If money received is sealed away in fear, it depletes. I multiply is the exhale of wealth. Florence explained that fear of loss is the single greatest brake on prosperity. Fear is a vibration of contraction, and nothing expands inside a contracted mind. So whenever the impulse to hoard or to resist spending surfaces, say silently, I multiply. That word redirects your energy back into expansion. She would say that the wise do not spend. They multiply, because every blessed expenditure returns as a divine investment. The difference lies entirely in consciousness. Those who fear money repel it. Those who bless it multiply it. The energy of money is obedient, not moral. It makes no distinction between the deserving and the undeserving. It distinguishes between the fearful and the trusting. So, I multiply is not a wish. It is an instruction. When you speak, I multiply, you are telling the universe what flows into my life expands. And the universe, which always seeks motion, responds with precision, sending new openings, new ideas, new channels. Florence also taught that multiplication is not limited to material wealth. Joy multiplies, peace multiplies, faith multiplies, creativity multiplies. Everything you bless replicates within you and around you. Practice this word at every transaction. When paying a bill, say, I multiply. When leaving a tip, say, I multiply. When making any purchase, say, I multiply. That vibration transforms every ordinary act into an act of expansion. You are not losing ground. You are planting seed. Florence said the universe is a perfect treasury. It records every blessed act and returns compounded dividends through channels you did not anticipate. So everything you give with love comes back multiplied. Sometimes through paths you would never have expected. She told the story of a student who feared spending on others. She felt she had to save because her income felt limited. Florence asked her to do the opposite, to bless every outgoing dollar and say, I multiply. She hesitated, then obeyed. Within weeks, her financial flow expanded. New clients appeared. A promotion arrived that she had never pursued. Florence told her that the law of multiplication is not governed by amount. It is governed by vibration. Give a little in fear and lose it. Give a little in love and multiply it. What determines the outcome is never the amount. It is always the consciousness. I multiply does not mean you force growth. It means you permit growth. Expansion occurs by natural law. All you must do is remove the blockages. Every time you speak this word, you dissolve an invisible obstruction and allow the energy to circulate freely. And more importantly, you are retraining your mind to trust the current. Florence explained that multiplication is also sustained by gratitude, which is why the 4 words are inseparable from one another. Thank you opens the channel, seals it. I receive materializes the blessing. I multiply keeps it alive. This is the perfect cycle of abundance. When you use all 4 words in their correct order, you are aligning yourself with the creative principle that governs the universe. This same principle moves the planets. It germinates the seed. It sustains the rhythm of every breath. Florence would say that money, which does not multiply, goes dark, and the soul, which does not share, grows closed. This is why true wealth is never measured by what you accumulate. It is measured by what you allow to circulate. Do this whenever the fear of losing or spending tries to take hold. Place one hand over your heart. Breathe deeply. Say in silence, I multiply. Then feel the energy expanding outward in every direction. Do not picture numbers. Picture movement. Picture life itself turning in a great circle around you. That sensation is what Florence called the pulse of abundance. When your energy vibrates in expansion, your entire environment vibrates in kind. Others begin to perceive you as a channel rather than a competitor. Prosperity becomes collective, not personal. I multiply is also an act of humility. It acknowledges that you are not the source. You are the conduit, and the more freely you allow the energy to move through you, the greater your capacity to receive becomes. Florence said that whoever fears losing becomes a dam. Whoever opens to multiplication becomes a river. Grace understood this at depth. Before, each time money arrived, she locked it away, afraid to return to the scarcity she had known. After receiving the 4th word, she began to bless what went out. She donated. She shared. She invested. And what appeared to be leaving returned multiplied. One day she said to Florence, "It feels as though money is following me." Florence replied, "It is not following you. It is reflecting you. Because when you master multiplication with awareness, Money no longer needs to chase you. It simply flows toward you. I multiply. Also transforms your emotional relationship with wealth. It releases you from attachment and from fear. It teaches you that nothing that moves through you is truly lost. It only changes form to return again. The law is simple. What you bless returns. What you give thanks for grows. What you fear fades. So when you use all 4 words together, do so with full intention. Before buying a ticket, say in your mind, thank you. Done. I receive. I multiply. That sequence is not a prayer. It is a vibrational command. Each word fulfills a precise function. Together they form a flawless equation. Do not rush through them. Breathe between each one. Feel the energy rise in, thank you, stabilize in, done, descend and settle in, I receive, and expand in all directions in, I multiply. That progression is the natural movement of creation itself. When you finish, hold silence. Do not think about outcomes. Do not examine the ticket with expectation. Only rest inside the sensation of expansion. Florence called that silence the soil in which miracles flower, because the universe does not require noise. It requires sustained vibration. Remember that, I multiply, is not only spoken, it is lived. It is a daily posture. Every blessed act is multiplication. Every kind thought, every generous gesture, every word of faith, all of it returns. This word closes the cycle and simultaneously reopens it, because each multiplication generates new gratitude. When you complete your decree, return to the first word, say, thank you, once more. And the cycle never ends. That unbroken motion is the signature of a prosperous mind. Wealth is not a destination. It is a rhythm. Florence sealed this teaching with a phrase she reserved for her closest students. When your word turns in circles of love, the universe turns with it. You now know all 4 words of power. You have learned to open, to seal, to receive, and to expand. But there remains one final element, the one that breathes life into the entire system. Without it, the words are only sound. With it, the words become creation. It is the secret key that ignites the command and makes it visible reality. Without it, the decree sleeps in the air. In the next chapter you will discover that key. Florence called it the spark of vibrational faith. And when you activate it, your word will stop being desire and become law. The 4 words are powerful, but without the key that ignites them, they remain only sound. That key is vibrational faith. Florence Scovel Shinn described it as the silent force that converts a spoken word into an act of creation. It is not blind faith. It is felt certainty. It is the moment when your body, your mind, and your spirit are all saying the same thing simultaneously. No doubt, no waiting, no forcing, only knowing. Faith is not something you learn. It is something you recover. It is the soul's natural condition, before the mind covered it over with layers of fear. This is why Florence taught people to reclaim it, not to search for it. She said that just a few seconds of genuine vibrational feeling are enough to imprint a new reality. 17 seconds of pure vibrational sincerity are sufficient to alter the trajectory of an event. Vibrational faith does not need elaborate words. It needs coherence. If you say, thank you, while your body is shaking with fear, the universe receives the fear. If you have been moved by these teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn, subscribe to Scovel Spirit Daily. Leave a comment below sharing which of the 4 words spoke most powerfully to you today, and carry these words. Thank you. Done. I receive. I multiply. As the living decree of your new reality. Florence Scovel Shinn knew. Now you do too.